All right, let's add a Pokemon. Is there a place you want to start with your
Yeah,
team, or maybe
no,
why did you choose Rain?
I think I'll give it to you in the order that I built it from. I think
Okay.
that'll give the most help. Um, and so a lot of this metagame for a long time was Charizard. It was Sun. It
Hmm.
was just overheating Kangaskhan,
Yeah.
or it was just regular good stuffs.
Hmm.
Now, if you're fighting an opponent and he's got his favorable weather up and you can't change it, you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted some sort of weather counter. I wanted something that I could change the weather with in case my opponent was running Sun or was running even Tyranitar. I don't want to have him have that special defense boost.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, what do I not see a whole lot of at this moment? And at the time it was rain. There was not a lot of rain going around because Drizzle wasn't infinite anymore, just there were faster dragons, so Kingdra wasn't being played. And Talonflame came out, so there wasn't, Ludicolo wasn't as big. But I
Yeah.
figured I got to play something that people aren't hopefully going to see coming. Apparently, everyone started running Rain. There were Rain teams in Top Cut.
Yeah.
Polytoad, Ludicolo, but I did put on Polytoad first.
Okay, let's pull up Politoed then, guys. There, Politoed, of course, having that ability Drizzle. So I'm assuming it's Drizzle. I probably don't need to ask you. So for those of you that don't know, on switch in, the weather becomes rain. It just you get rain or whatever. The weather becomes rain dance. That doesn't really make sense, but you guys know what I mean. So it'll start to rain. You did that because you wanted to stop those sandstorms, those in the sun with
And
like Charizard Y.
exactly, I just didn't want them having their weather up. Now,
Okay, perfect. And how about an item, or what did you like going over first, the moves or the items?
I actually chose the item first, and
Okay.
I put on a choice scarf, and this is because there's a lot of dragons in this format. Even though fairy type got introduced, you can't just dragon typing is still too strong. So there's a lot of Garchomp, a lot of Salamence.
Hmm.
So I know I needed something on my team that was going to deal with that, and I had been testing Gardevoir for a while. I didn't really like any of the fairies, so I figured I need something faster than
That's
Garchomp.
rude, by the way. That's prejudice. I can't
Oh,
believe
is
you just
that
said that.
okay? Okay, well, de- deal with it. So I knew I needed something to get rid of Garchomp before it hit me, and could one-on-one Salamence. So Ice Beam, Choice Scarf, Ice Beam. I knew would outspeed the Garchomp, and I could take Politoed can take that Draco Meteor, no problem. So Ice Beam was also the first move. That was kind of a combination. It was like Choice Scarf, Ice Beam.
All right, so I threw that ice beam on there. And don't forget, guys, Choice Scarf is the one that makes you faster, but it locks you into a move. But you were using it to get rid of dragons, so locking it into ice beam is
I was okay with that. I was like,
yeah.
yeah.
It really he's there to set the weather and then get rid of dragons. So you had your two base moves, but what did you round out Politoed with?
I then put on Scald, and a lot of reason. Okay, one, it two shots non-bulky Kangaskhan. It
Hmm.
gives me an 100% accurate water move, and that 30% chance to burn is it's so hard to pass up. There's so many times. There was a time in Swiss I scalded a Swords Dance Mawile. It got burnt, and then it just became useless again. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, thank God. So I put on Scald to give it that stab water move, and that had 100% accuracy. So I was like, all right. So far, that's still pretty standard for Politoed.
Hmm.
But fast water, one shot Rotom heats.
Hmm.
Anything I didn't want to deal with, you could just do real good damage real fast to it.
Hmm. All right, so then what do we do for the other two? Because you're locked in. Don't forget, guys, with a scarf, you're locked in. So whatever Alex chose, it was like you had to have some good coverage here, I would assume.
Well, that's a funny question. 'Cause the next move I put on here was Rain Dance.
Oh, just keep it going, right?
Yep. A lot of times, what I would do is if I saw Charizard, and I don't think I lost against one Charizard, believe it or not.
Hmm.
I led Politoed, Ludicolo, my Rain mode,
Hmm.
and I would keep Choice Scarf Rain Dancing until they Mega Evolved, and I would get rid of their Sun on the turn it came up. So a
Hmm.
lot of times, a Mega Charizard will come out, Mega Evolve, put up the Sun with Drought, its
Hmm.
ability, and then Solar Beam your Water Pokemon on that same turn.
Yeah.
Now, since I'm Scarf and I'm faster than them, as soon as they Mega Evolve, that goes before all attacking moves. They'll
Oh,
Mega, Drought the playing field, so it's Sun. I'll Rain Dance up, and they're stuck for a whole turn in Solar Beam.
can't do anything, dude.
They
That's
can't do anything.
sick. The
They
next level
can't,
play.
and they can't switch. They can't protect next turn. Rain will be back up, so Ludicolo can one-shot it on the following turn, and I could fake out its partner, so I took no damage. That's a free Mega KO against Sun teams a lot of the time.
That's really sick, guys. So I hope you caught that play there. Alex he would Scarf into Rain Dance anyway, even though he knew he could do no damage to the Pokemon, but it would freeze up that Charizard, essentially smacking it up, you know. But if you're watching this video, I know I didn't intro it, guys. This is Alex Ogloza again. Just because this might be on YouTube, I know you guys all just saw it here live on Twitch. But this is Alex Ogloza, the national champion. We're building his national championship team right now, starting out with Politoed, and we just found out he was not only had Drizzle, but Rain Dance, Scarfed Rain Dance, which is absolutely gnarly. How about that final move, Alex?
For a long time, I was toying around with different things. Because, you know, Politoed, it doesn't have the greatest special attack ever. And without a water move, you're not really doing a whole lot of damage unless, you know, a 4 times weak dragon's taking an Ice Beam to the face.
Yeah.
But I did discover that Mega Lucario ended up being a big problem for my team. So I actually ended up putting on this move after the whole team was built, but it did end up being Hydro Pump. And
actually doubling up on the water then.
Tell you why. Hydro Pump allowed me to outspeed and one-shot Mega Lucario in the rain. So I could lead Politoed Kangaskhan, I could lead Politoed whatever, and when Mega Lucario came out, because I also have Hydreigon, and you know Mega Lucario is going to close combat feint Ludicolo. So I wanted something to outspeed and one-shot it, in addition to one-shotting Mienshao every time, you know, Bisharp every time. So that Hydro Pump really, really came in clutch. It also did 70% or so to Mega Kangaskhan. So if I could just tap it down a little bit, I could send out Politoed, outspeed, and KO, especially if they don't know I'm Scarfed. Not a lot of people expect to see, but they didn't pass tense, to see Scarf Politoed. So that kind of speed and damage came out to, you know, it came out to be really helpful. Like Mega Manectric, if I don't have Politoed out, they usually attack that first turn as they're Mega Evolving, and if they don't have the speed boost from the Mega Evolve, I outspeed in one shot as well.
Yeah, so that's huge.
I'm able to stand out there and just take out threats, like no problem. So Hydro Pump was actually really, really clutch, I would have to say. But yeah, that came on after the whole team was built, because I knew I figured out I was weak to Mega Lucario.
For sure, that's really cool. So guys, there's the build for Politoed. Now, for now, I believe that we're keeping the spreads under wraps, the training spreads there. So you'll have to try and figure it out on your own, taking Alex's tips there about who he was outspeeding and stuff like that. If you think he built it a certain way, because Alex might still use this team at Worlds, so we can't divulge all the information. Because his opponents, you don't know what could possibly happen. If anyone, what if Sajin's watching right now? What if he's watching?
In English, yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, guys, that is the Politoed. Let's jump over to the next Pokemon. So you brought Politoed for that rain. What else did you bring?
And everyone, just pay attention to what I'm saying, because you can kind of figure out the spreads like that. I know Justin hinted at that, but that's really important. Like that outspeeding Mega Lucario and one-shotting it, like that's a big number. So just keep that in mind. The next Pokemon I put on had to accompany Politoed with something, and I didn't want Rotom Wash to be a big threat to my team, so I put on Ludicolo.
Yeah, always really good Pokemon for those rain teams anyway.
Yeah, no, it's great because it's got Swift Swim, so its speed doubles. So
I'm guessing that's what you ran it with then.
Oh yeah, big time. I wanted that fast mode. So if I had a Swift Swim Ludicolo out there and a Choice Scarf Politoed, I'm faster than 95% of the field just on turn 1, just by by them both being out at the same time. My item was Assault Vest.
Okay.
And now this is a big difference between my team and Ray Rizzo's team. Ray also ran Politoed Ludicolo, but he went for the more offensive set. Assault Vest, increasing your special defense 1.5 times. As long as it's holding it, but you're only limited to attacking moves. So, like, no Protect or anything.
Yeah. No Protect on that Ludicolo there, so I guess we won't be seeing that. But so you chose the Assault Vest. You went for the bulkier version then of Ludicolo, and it's special defense only on that Assault Vest. For those that might be like kind of relatively newer to Pokemon, that's important that Alex mentioned that you cannot protect when you have that on there. So he's pretty much a sitting duck, unfortunately. Could be. Or he is kind of a duck, right? He's like a duck.
Completely, yeah.
He literally is kind of a duck mariachi guy. But anyway, where did you go with those moves? So did you double up on the ice beam?
So I did. I did double up on the ice beam. Just because you don't. I mean, there's not a whole lot of great options on Ludicolo. As much as I love the duck, you know, he's got a pretty straightforward move set. And I did run the assault vest because I mentioned earlier I have 3 choice items, so I already can't run protect on all of those Pokemon.
Yeah.
The rest, Mega Kangaskhan had fake out, so the only defense I had was really just switching in and taking it. So assault vest was there to switch in Ludicolo and just kind of like survive a move hopefully,
yeah,
and back really hard. And
that makes sense.
That's a more defensive item as opposed to Ray's Life Orb, which would increase his attack damage. I also ran Scald.
Okay.
Same stab water move. I could double Scald into Mega Kangaskhan, and if it wasn't a bulky one, I could, you know, feint it, or if it was, I have, you know, 2 sets of 30% chance to burn. So a really good way to neuter physical attackers, just from the sheer fact that it does burn like that. And then, like I said, it was here to deal with Rotom Wash, so I put on Giga Drain. Pretty straightforward. It does, you know, great damage, and since I am so defensive with Assault Vest, that recovery instead of, say, Energy Ball, it was really welcome. I could really... There was one match against King of Kongs, the previous national champion, he won last year, where I Giga Drained my own Politoed to survive his Sledge Bomb from Venusaur as his Rotom Wash protected. And
wow.
I needed the HP to survive, and so that kind of that regen is really helpful, even if you use it against your own teammate.
Those next level plays, though. So I hope you guys kind of caught that. You Giga Drained your own Politoed, right?
Oh yeah.
But you didn't end up fainting your Politoed, so you Giga Drained your Politoed, and then your Politoed did some damage then?
I wish I had fainted it, but it wasn't strong enough to faint my Politoed. I would have won if I'd fainted the Politoed with it, but I was able to survive the Sledge Bomb from his Mega Venusaur in order to hit the Rotom Wash next turn after it had protected, because I knew the Protect was coming. He had to protect. So that was cool. And
right on. Okay, so what did you do to round it out since you can't have a Protect on there?
Sure. I put on Fake Out. And
okay, nice.
I did this because Mega Kangaskhan is so big in the format. I knew that with Rain Up, I could be the faster Fake Outer, and I could Fake Out the Mega Kangaskhan before he faked me out, and that keeps my momentum going there. I didn't want him to, you know, stop one of my teammates on a super fast team that's supposed to be super offensive. You don't want to get slowed down like that. You don't have the time for that. So my Fake Out was there to threaten their Kangaskhan and force him out, which is exactly what happened to Ray in the second game, even if I didn't go for Fake Out, and I got a free KO, and that's what won me game 2 against Ray. So that Fake Out was actually pretty handy.
Yeah, I mean, that is nasty fast in that rain situation there. So there you go, guys. Kind of very similar to Politoed, but has a slight different utility to it. It's a switch-in Pokemon that you hope can take some damage, but then be able to outspeed and do damage. Not to mention, it gives you that, you're probably going to switch in, survive, you can Fake Out, have your other Pokemon wipe somebody out, then Ludicolo is probably still fast, he'll wipe somebody out, so there's a lot of options there. So the Assault Vest Ludicolo, cool choice there with that Fake Out and Swift Swim, guys. So go ahead and build your own, maybe switch up your EV spreads, see what works for you. So that's the start of Alex's team. We have the Politoed and Ludicolo. Where did we go from here, Alex?
So I started realizing that Talonflame with that priority Brave Bird did massive damage to these two. Like, even though I should super affect it with, you know, water moves, it's got priority and Gale Wings, so it gets before my stuff no matter how fast I am. And it was one-shotting Ludicolo, and for a while it was one-shotting my Politoed. I ended up fixing that issue with Politoed in the EVs, but I knew I had to stop opposing Talonflame.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to run Gyarados? I need Intimidate or but, you know, why not my own Talonflame to outspeed that Talonflame and kill it first? I'm already on this kind of be as fast as possible, do as much damage, so I was like, all right, I'm going to run my Talonflame, and I'm going to build it to outspeed other Talonflame and kill that, or faint them. Sorry.
That's okay. You can say, I'm not allowed to say that. You can say that.
We don't faint Pokemon, but I'm sorry. I figured, why not outspeed other Talonflame and faint them first? So I went with Talonflame. Now, in order to get that damage and that speed, I did have to go with a Choice Band on Talonflame.
Oops, spelling words is difficult. All right, so you went with that choice band. You knew that you needed the power, and that choice band gives the. By the way, guys, it gives the holder's attack 1.5 times damage boost, but you're also locked into a move. Now, how about that ability? I'm assuming it's got to be Gale Wings for that priority.
Gale Wings to outspeed the other Talonflame, and I did run choice band because I knew to outspeed other Talonflame, I had to go with a speed boosting nature. So it is a Jolly Talonflame, so if that helps you guys at all. But,
I apologize. Yeah, we didn't. We can go over that. We can go back over the other ones and tell you those natures as well, if that's okay, Alex. Whatever you want to go over. Okay. Why don't we throw the moves on and I'll switch that nature up.
Okay. So how was I gonna KO other Talonflame? Well, they're Brave Birding, and with their priority Gale Wings, I also Brave Birded them back. So Brave Bird is my go-to move, and it's probably what I locked into because you're stuck using one move. I got. I locked into Brave Bird probably 85% of the time.
I'm pretty sure...
Maybe even more, 95% of the time.
I think I commentated your match where you Brave Birded like 4 times. It was so nasty. Like
I KO'd myself one game in top 4 purely from recoil.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. That was a big match. I think that was the match to take you into that was maybe match 2, I think, or something of that top 4 where it's just like Brave Bird. You had lost round 1, and then or match 1, and then you're just Brave Bird.
That's the same one. I only lost. He fainted himself from pure recoil. Yeah, that was good stuff.
Well, what else did you throw on here? Is it a pretty typical build? We got that Flare Blitz, or what?
It would be Flare Blitz. I never used Flare Blitz, not even one time. So I can't speak to how useful it was, but sometimes you don't run rain. You want that fire move to KO Mawile, to hit Aegislash if they're not in King's Shield, So I did have that option there, and it does mad damage with that choice band. Then, since I can't protect, next best thing is U-turn. That way, if I was going to be threatened, I could U-turn into a Pokemon and come out and save my Talonflame. Because Talonflame's super, frail. It doesn't have a lot of great defenses there. So that was kind of my fix to not having protect. It was like, if I see, or I could hit Tyranitar for like 50%.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, and then what was that last move?
Taunt.
Oh, yeah, dude, taunt. So, the Disruptor Talonflame was like such a hidden gem in this meta, like you said, with those Will-O-Wisps or those taunts, they became really, really big plays.
His most use for taunt was against opposing Smeargle teams. The good old Kangaskhan fake out, Dark Void Smeargle. I end up having a max speed Kangaskhan, so I figured, hey, I can fake out their Kangaskhan, and no matter what, Taunt's going to go up against the Smeargle, and it's not going to be able to Dark Void my team. So that was like pretty much the sole reason I put it on. I ended up using it for other stuff throughout the tournament, but that's why I put it on. I needed some way to stop fake out Dark Void Smeargle.
Yeah, that's true. That was going to be a really scary thing going into this. Now, we did talk about the nature earlier, guys. He said it was Jolly to really give it that extra speed boost. So there you go. A little secret into the team there, that Jolly Talonflame with the Choice Band, Gale Wings, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, U-turn, Taunt. Real quick, Alex, let's jump back over that Politoed and Ludicolo. Do we got some natures on those guys?
Both modest. Do as much damage as possible.
Nice. So modest there, which you'll see the boost to special attack, and Ludicolo as well. Modest, that boost to special attack and minus an attack because they're not really doing any physical damage. He does have the fake out, but it really wasn't there. It's really not there to do damage. So there you go. You can see those 2 modest and then Jolly Talonflame to outspeed other Talonflames. Now again, we're not going over like the EV spreads. Alex still might use this team at the World Championships. But let's keep going over a couple other Pokemon there. So we got the Talonflame to deal with that Talonflame issue because your Ludicolo and Politoed were both relatively weak to that potential. How about that 4th Pokemon?
So far the team, I built these 3, and I was thinking, I'm just, all this stuff is still theory in my head, like what am I going to be weak to? And a big thing I was afraid of was Gyarados. And so Gyarados kind of does a lot of work against rain teams, being, flying and water at the same time. So even Ludicolo is only hitting for neutral and getting Ice Fanged back for neutral. And Talonflame was going to be intimidated and be a waterfall So I wanted something out there that could just deal a lot of neutral damage. Now, how unoriginal of me, I put on Mega Kangaskhan, with, quite well known as dealing just the most standard damage in this format right now. He does so well. I think it's just a space. What are you? A lot of.
I'm just. The keyboard's really far away from me. There it is. No, it's.
You have to go Kangaskhan.
All right, I'm just gonna go K. I
Yeah,
can't find
there
it.
you go.
Oh, it's Kangaskhan dash Mega. What?
Yeah.
Some of them are listed as Mega this, and this one's
I don't know why
Kangaskhan.
they do that, but they do that.
My keyboard's really far, so I had to kind of stretch out so my hands aren't in like the best. But just leave me alone. Everybody, leave me. This is over. It's over. Okay, so yes, Alex, as Alex said here, Mr. Original Kangaskhan, but you got to respect the Kangaskhan, right? It's the most powerful. It's the most powerful Pokemon in the game.
For a long time as a player, I would try to stay away from stuff that was seen the most, just because I felt like, oh man, it's so strong, it's OP. Like I don't want to use it. But you got to come to a point where you realize, hey man, if something's OP and you want to win, like if it's gonna help you win, like go for it. It's legal for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was gonna hit Gyarados, as long as it wasn't Intimidator or whatever. It was gonna hit Gyarados pretty well. It's gonna hit other Kangaskhan pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it hits so many things so well. It even hits Garchomp pretty well. It hits Hydreigon pretty well. It'll hit, short of a Ghost, short of being Charm, Meowstic, it's gonna hit a lot of things really well. And it's just got so much going for it. It's got priority in Sucker Punch, so that's one of the moves if you're waiting for it.
Yeah, no, I already knew it was going to be Kangaskhanite, so I was like, well, I don't really need to know what item you're running on it. So I just went right to the moves, but Sucker Punch, obviously a really important move on Kangaskhan, like you said, for that priority.
And that actually paired really well with Talonflame, since Banded Talonflame does a whole mess of damage. I can do like 80% to Gyarados. So a good old Sucker Punch and a Brave Bird will just completely take out a Pokemon that looks like it's going to be on the field for a long time. Mm-hmm. So even just getting a little bit of chip damage on something would allow Talonflame to come in and KO it. Priority is a great way to do that. And Kangaskhan's got such great attack. So I put on Sucker Punch. I put on Return because it's a great way of not damaging yourself but doing a lot of damage with Kangaskhan and its stab normal type. So that's the move of choice. If I had to do it again, though, it would have been Frustration. This is actually a great tip if you guys are playing. There are a lot of Smeargle, and the Smeargle that went 9-0 in the first day of Swiss, the undefeated Smeargle, was running Transform. If he transforms into you, chances are he has max happiness or even half happiness. Well, probably max happiness. Everyone maxes their Smeargle because they're anticipating transforming into your Kangaskhan.
Yeah.
But if you run Frustration, they can't use it. It's going to do maybe like 3% because their Pokemon has so much happiness. Their Smeargle, it doesn't take your happiness level.
Wow.
So it's just a free way. It does the exact same thing as Return, as long as you don't use Kangaskhan in your party and make it happy. If they transform into you, it has a huge bonus. They're stuck only using Sucker Punch or Powerup Punch, and they can't use that main attacking move Kangaskhan can use. So that's pretty big. If I was to do it again, I'd run Frustration. Just to stop Smeargle. And I'm saying that because I'm not going to run Smeargle, so I hope everybody else does this too.
Everyone runs Smeargle.
just keep people away from it. But yeah, I would have run Frustration.
That's really cool, man. Thank you for that tip, guys. By the way, just reiterating exactly what Alex just said here in case you missed it. If you just popped in, wanted to run he ran Return. He ran Return. We pulled up Frustration. For those of you that don't know, Return works on happiness. You make your Kangaskhan as happy as possible. It does that full 102 damage. But if you make it angry, then you use Frustration, which does 102 at the minimum happiness. So the reason he was running Frustration was because when Smeargle turns into your Kangaskhan, then that Smeargle is too happy, and essentially Frustration is a useless move. So you did run Return, so we're going to build it like the way you built it, but the pro tip there is run your Kangaskhan with Frustration. Don't make it happy, make it miserable.
Yeah, exactly. And let me give you a little bit of disclaimer, though. I haven't personally tested it, but a good friend of mine told me. So unless he's confused, like, about Pokemon, then that works. I'm like I would say 90% sure that works. That the Frustration thing, it doesn't copy your happiness. But that's what they were telling me after the tournament, and like they had tested it themselves. So I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that that's the case.
So
But
little disclaimer there. It sounds I don't think it duplicates those hidden stats like that. So I think
yeah, I don't think so either because it doesn't take your IVs or EVs. So I mean, it doesn't take your IVs. So I think that that does work. But
yeah.
disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Of course. Asterisk. I can't make one with my hands. Is that what an asterisk would look like if you try to do
I
it with
think
your
so.
hands?
I'm living around here. Just keep typing equal signs on my mail. That's your job.
All right, so Sucker Punch return, two pretty standard moves on Kangaskhan. What else after that?
Powerup Punch.
Oh, hurt me. So Powerup Punch, and then I think I might already know the other one, but Power Punch, you can tell us a little bit about why. I mean, I think we all know to Power Up Punch and then be super strong, right?
I almost ran Hammer Arm, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew there was going to be a lot of bulkier Adamant Kangaskhan. At least
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was hearing from my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get the one shot, and Hammer Arm can also miss. So
Mm-hmm.
I went Power Up Punch, and a lot of people run it because they want that +2, and yeah, like that, I used it for that too. But my main reason was to take out Tyranitar because I didn't have a great way to hit,
Mm-hmm.
Tyranitar with the sand up. So I actually used it more as a coverage move against a certain Pokemon than a +2. But I definitely used it to go up and attack as well. So that's pretty
Yeah.
standard on Kangaskhan as well. And the last move is Fake Out.
There we go. And that last move is Fake Out, guys. I think it's pretty obvious, like, to fake out your opponents. But yeah, I mean, I think Kangaskhan has to be running Fake Out. I mean, if you're not running one, you're really, I think, doing yourself a disservice there. So the Fake Out was a pretty obvious pull. But the Power Punch, the interesting story about this, not only the return frustration swap there, but Power Punch, that's interesting, you're right, because Tyranitar with the Sand Up gets that special defense boost. You need something that can break through that, and you didn't really have anything else on your team that could do that.
Especially not at this point. I mean, looking at it with Sand Up, Tyranitar gives me a big problem.
Hmm.
Fake Out does pair really well. I know we haven't talked about it, but I did have Aegislash on my team. However you pronounce it, someone's going to tell me I'm
I think
wrong.
it's Aegislash. I think
Okay,
Aegislash.
I'll continue mispronouncing it. I'm sorry, but I know I will. It pairs really well because I can get that Fake Out because I did run Jolly Kangaskhan max speed. I made it as fast as possible to try to get off that Fake Out on any number of opponents, and I could Fake Out and substitute with Aegislash on the same turn, on the first turn of the game, which gives you a lot of momentum. So that was actually like a combo I was running instead of, say, like Protect on Kangaskhan or something like that. So,
That's pretty big. There you go. So there you guys go. You got the Jolly nature there. Again, we're not doing the spreads just yet, but you can kind of, figure it out from some of the stuff that he's saying. You're probably not going to get it down to the number, but you can get the general idea of what Alex was going for. Now, so then, do we go Aegislash then? You actually were running one?
Aegislash was the next one, and that's because I wanted at least something to switch in without dying to Mega Kangaskhan. I wanted at least one thing to be, everything else here, like, gets one-shotted except for my Mega Kangaskhan, but if you're down in damage against another Mega Kangaskhan, it's not going to be pretty. I did run Leftovers as my item because I decided I wanted to run Substitute, and I like that kind of residual health back as you use Substitute, then you can King Shield, you're getting more Leftovers back, and then if you want to play some mind games, you can Substitute again. And that helps you, you get to one-on-one Mega Kangaskhan because it can't hurt you, unless it uses Sucker Punch. So you can stay behind your Substitute forever, get up as much health as you want until you're ready to take it out. It helps you against Mega Mawile because unless they're running Fire Fang, they really can't hit you except for with Sucker Punch again. You can Substitute, get up your health again. So Substitute, I highly recommend on Aegislash. That's like my favorite. That's the only version of Aegislash I run is the Substitute one.
Yeah, it's really, really, really strong. And especially, like you said, that turn one combo with Kangaskhan, the Fake Out, set up the Substitute, that's epic. So what do we got for move number 2?
I went with Shadow Ball, and that's to hit, and that's stab. I want to hit other Aegislash. Because so far I also don't have a great way except for, neutral water moves to hit Aegislash. If Rain's up, Flare Blitz isn't going to do a whole lot, and Kangaskhan can't really hit it. So that's stab, Shadow Ball. Helps against Gardevoir, helps against other Aegislash, helps against Gengar, any number of ghosts that are going to come up to attack Mega Kangaskhan. So I went with Shadow Ball. And obviously, put on King Shield. You got to do that. I don't want to...
Yeah, no doubt. So King Shield on there, give you that extra stall power for the extra life on with that leftover. So it's essentially getting double leftovers, really, any turn.
And so the last move, for a long time, and I don't put this down because I've changed it.
Okay.
I ran Sacred Sword because I was really afraid of Tyranitar. You know, even with Powerup Punch and the water, Mega Tyranitar. Oh my God, it's so scary. It's so good against this team, and you know, Sacred Sword does the 4 times damage. It also helps against Bisharp. So I was running Sacred Sword, and the night before the tournament, I went to go put it on my Pokemon because I could do it with a Heart Scale. And when I realized, oh my God, my Aegislash is modest. So not only am I minus attack, but it wasn't a perfect attack IV either. It was actually 14 attack IV.
Oh man.
So when I did a damage calculator of Flash Cannon versus Sacred Sword, Flash Cannon did the same amount, if not more damage than my Sacred Sword was doing against Tyranitar, even in the sand.
Yeah.
So I went back and I put on Flash Cannon because it was doing that same kind of damage, and since I had that minus attack nature, just Sacred Sword, and I could be intimidated. It would be terrible to be intimidated, try to hit Mega Kangaskhan for
14.
Yeah, not the greatest.
That's crazy. So not even the move that you really wanted, but maybe ended up working out for you there. So you said it was Jolly though?
No, Modest.
I'm sorry. No, my fault. I was like, did he say Jolly? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? I don't understand. So yeah, you would have had a really. Let's just throw a 15. Let's throw a 14 on. Oh God.
It's bad. It's
107.
So bad.
107.
I'm glad I realized that because it would have been really ugly. Because you know, the only way for this Aegislash to hit Mega Kangaskhan is with that last slot. And if I am intimidated, Sacred Sword does like 20%. And I don't want a 5-shot Mega Kangaskhan, you know. I want to do 40% with Flash Cannon. So 45, you know, you get some change on there too. And I actually used that against a Deeb. I KO his Kangaskhan one time with Aegislash. I think so.
I think I remember that.
It was definitely helpful. I was definitely glad Flash Cannon went up there, especially because Deeb had Gyarados, and that was the Intimidate I was afraid of. So that was my Aegislash set.
All right, guys, let's review it really fast. Got that Leftovers, Substitute as well, you know, get a little bit of HP back every time. Shadow Ball, King Shield, Flash Cannon, so semi-standard set for those special attacker Aegislash. Went with the Modest nature to give it that extra boost. Also used it to get rid of other Aegislashes with the Shadow Ball, and then, you know, potentially to do work on other like Psychic types and things like that that are weak to Ghost type attacks. All right, so we got 5 Pokemon. Give us that number 6, Alex. What is it?
This one took me a long time, and I actually ran this team as just 5 Pokemon for a while, and then for a little bit I put on Salamence because I figured I still wanted something to take care of, you know, maybe Garchomp, maybe I wanted Intimidate, but I also wanted something else to hit Mega Kangaskhan really hard, especially. Not even just Mega Kangaskhan, but Mega Kangaskhan's role, like I said, it was very just general to do damage. And so I knew I needed at least one other Pokemon to just do a lot of damage. A long time, I ran Salamence in that slot. But through some testing, and I talked to a friend of mine, Sumo Ninja, and he was running a pretty similar team as I was, and we were both on the top of Showdown Ladder. He was like 5th, and I was 6th at the time, and we flipped. He was using Hydreigon.
Okay.
And so after being really stubborn and not wanting to use Hydreigon because I figured, oh my God, I don't have Intimidate on my team, I gave it a try, and it's absolutely a monster. So yeah, I put on Hydreigon.
So that was the big final Pokemon.
Choice specs, because I already had the other 2 choice items, and who doesn't 3 choice items?
There we go. So another choice item, I believe you choiced that Politoed, you choiced your Talonflame, and now you also choiced your Hydreigon with choice specs, giving it that special attack boost this time.
Yeah. In this format, you know, there's not as much defense going on, there's not as much status. You know, Cresselia is not here, you don't have these big special walls, you don't have these, just the walls in general. So I wasn't as afraid to run so much offense. Now, I didn't go out I didn't go out to build the team like, I really want 3 choice items, let me figure out where to put them. These happen to be the best items for these Pokemon on this team. So I wasn't like, I have to use 3 choice items. But it did end up being really solid, and I can tell you why. Draco Meteor, Stab, Hydreigon, Modest, gets the one shot on Mega Kangaskhan, depending on how much HP, like 75 to 50% of the time. And you'll see that in my final match against the Deeb, where I one shot his Mega Kangaskhan. I knew I wanted another way to take out Mega Kangaskhan. So Hydreigon with Specs and Draco Meteor was the answer. I do live a return 100% of the time minus, crit. So
Yeah.
so that takes some HP and defense, but so just keep that in mind. I can survive and a one shot back 75 to 50% of the time according to, how much investment they would have, and that would actually help me decide what kind of Kangaskhan they had. So that was pretty big. Then I ran Dark Pulse, the other stab move for this guy. I ended up one-shotting Adib's Aegislash in one of the games. I know I got
even in shield form, I think.
Yeah, in shield form, it does massive damage. So that does like 60 to 70% on Gyarados. So that's a clean two-shot, no problem. It did 60% to his Mega Kangaskhan. You hit like a truck. Those two moves will hit so hard. It just depends whether you want to go down for the -2 with Draco Meteor or not. But a -2 Draco Meteor with Choice Specs still hits really, really hard. And even Ray left his -6 Hydreigon Choice Specs in against my whole team and was still just Draco Meteoring everything.
Yeah, even like -4.
No, for real. And I was still like, I can't take this kind of damage. Like it was still two-shotting my Kangaskhan and crazy stuff like that, even at -4. So that's something to think about. Like that damage output is nuts, and I really just wanted something else there to help me against Mega Kangaskhan and Aegislash because I didn't have a great way to hit it super effectively. Now the next move I never used. I put on Flamethrower. Now I had some friends who were like, "You should put on Fire Blast, Fire Blast, Fire Blast." Fire Blast in the rain does have a chance to one-shot, Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn. So there is something to be said for that. However, I knew if I was going to use it, a lot of times I didn't bring rain, especially against Ferrothorn. So I wanted to be able to get that one shot, or even with Politoed if it's on the field. Like Ferrothorn's not going to, I'm gonna if we're one-on-oneing even in the rain, Flamethrower's going to get the kill. The feint. It's going to get the feint. I didn't want to risk missing. I already had Hydro Pump on the team, and I had Draco on Hydreigon. And so I didn't want to miss. I put on Flamethrower, never used it though, so I can't really attest for how great of a move it is. But I did want it something for Ferrothorn, because look at my team. What do I have to hit it with? Shadow Ball with Aegislash, Powerup Punch if I want to, hurt myself with Rocky Helmet Iron Barbs.
Yeah.
Flare Blitz on Talonflame if I want to lock myself into it. So I wanted another option to hit Ferrothorn. I didn't run into any Ferrothorn, I don't think, but that was an option there. And this last slot is actually really important, and I fixed it. I had to rebreed my old Hydreigon.
Oh yeah?
I gave it Earth Power.
Okay.
And Earth Power you can only get if you have a Hydreigon from a previous game that knew it, and you send it up, and then you breed it. And I was already at Indy, and I was like, oh god, I didn't know that. I went through my box. I had traded up 2 Hydreigon from my old game, and the first one didn't have Earth Power. And
oh my gosh.
Don't know what I'm going to run. The second one did. I was like, oh, thank God. I rebred the whole Hydreigon, gave it Earth Power, and this Earth Power single-handedly was the only thing that helped, that allowed me to win against Ray. Ray was running 2 steals in rain. Hard to do damage like that. Earth Power, it super affects the steals without worrying about rain nerfing fire moves. So Earth Power, super, super, super great move. Just it's very situational, but it does mad damage against Aegislash, mad damage against Mega Mawile, which also provided, it was also a threat to my team. So that was that. It's Modest, by the way. I'm not sure if you put that on there.
I didn't, but Modest will give it, of course, guys, so it gives it, again, that boost to special attack. You see it right here. Oops, the boost to special attack, and then the -2 attack, because this thing is a full-on powerhouse special attacker there.
So much damage.
So there's that set, man. That's the team with the Hydreigon. That Earth Power became a clutch move for you against those Steel-type Pokemon, so that's huge. Choice Specs, that would have been cool if you wore them. That'd be tight. Just a Hydreigon, just with some glasses on, looking like a boss. But so there it is, guys. That's Alex's team. We'll go over them really fast again. Here's that Politoed, Choice Scarf, Drizzle, Ice Beam, Scald, Rain Dance, Hydro Pump, Modest, Ludicolo with Assault Vest, Swift Swim, Ice Beam, Scald, Giga Drain, Fake Out, and it's also modest. Talonflame, Choice Band, Gale Wings, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Taunt, with the jolly nature to outspeed other Talonflames. Kangish Karen, Parental Bond, Sucker Punch, Return, Power Punch, Fake Out, Jolly, and I would assume Scrappy if you're non-mega.
Scrappy.
And then Aegislash here with the leftover Stance Change, Substitute, Shadow Ball, King Shield, Flash Cannon, Modest Nature for more special attack damage. So 2 special attackers, and 2 physical attackers, and the rest all special attackers.
I only have 2 different natures across all 6 Pokemon.
So there we go, and the Modest again with the High Dragon that you just saw. Choice Specs, Levitate, Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Earth Power. Guys out there, build your own team. You can feel free to hit that up, test it out, see if you like Alex's team. We didn't go over any of the EV spreads. Alex still might be using this team at Worlds. But Alex, thank you again for being on, guys. If you do not know, this is Alex Ogloza, the U.S. National Champion. You can check him out on Twitter. His links will be in the description below if you want to check out his YouTube, his Twitch, or anything else like that. We're gonna have a battle now. I'm gonna battle, and we're gonna do 2 battles. I'll throw one up on my channel. We'll throw one up on Alex's channel as well, so you guys can check out both of those if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like button. Show Alex Ogloza, your U.S. National Champion, some love, and we will see you guys soon. Don't forget to subscribe and check him out, Alex Ogloza.